Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be giving you guys some working from home with kids tips. With everything going on, I know a lot of people are working from home right now, and with daycares being closed, schools being closed, all of that, I know that your kids are most likely with you at the house, so it can be pretty challenging. So when I was actually looking for videos on working mom tips and all that stuff, I saw a lot of work from home mom tips. But the problem with those videos that I saw is that there weren't any set hours that they had to work. So these are a lot of freelancers or people who are self-employed, which is awesome, but I actually work for an employer. So I have set hours that I have to work from, the regular 9 to 5, but mine are actually 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So I have full set hours that I have to be present for, be logged on for. I can't just go and take a break or work whenever I want. So if this is you, I hope that this video will provide you with good tips and hopefully learning something new and just trying to do the best that we can with this time. Remember, give yourself some grace. We're not supposed to be stay-at-home moms, working moms, teachers, all of that for a reason. There's a reason why there's 3 separate job categories for that. So again, give yourself some grace. I hope these tips help you, and let's get into the first one. Okay, so the first tip that I want to talk about is schedule. Now, I'm not talking about a strict schedule. Right now during this situation, I really don't recommend having a strict schedule. You'll look at it, realize that you either fall off of it, can't follow it, and then you will, if you're anything like me, you will start getting crazy because you're like, oh my God, I can't keep up with this is chaotic, and you just won't follow it. So what I'm saying with a schedule is more of a routine. So try to come up with certain times of the day where you feel like you're gonna get the most done. And I have a toddler and an infant. I don't know what age your kids are, but with a toddler and an infant, it is really hard to get out a certain block of time to be able to fully focus on working. So basically what I mean is you want to try to schedule just 30-minute bursts of work, because that's usually the attention capacity of my toddler, and even then I still get interrupted, and I also have an infant. So it is tough. My girls are 16 and a half months apart, so right now having them at home full-time while I work full-time has been hard, but I hope that a routine is key. So even if you want to follow kind of what they did at their daycare, or I have a nanny, which she does, so have little certain activities that you do at certain times. What time do you eat breakfast? What time do you eat lunch? What time do you give snacks? Things like that. That way your day is just kind of planned out for you, but it's still flexible, where you can still be like, okay, well, we didn't eat at this time, or okay, we're not going to do this activity now, we'll just do it later. Things like that. You want it to be very flexible, because in this time, it's just, everything is chaos right now. So you want to make sure that you give yourself some grace and have the time to be able to add in certain things to your schedule or take things out without feeling like you just messed up your whole entire day. Okay, the next thing, very obvious one, but cell phone. I'm telling you, working from home, your cell phone is your biggest distraction, especially right now with the news, social media. There's so many things you want to keep up with, totally understand. But when you set out those bursts of work that you're going to schedule out, make sure that you either turn off your notifications of your phone, maybe put your phone on airplane mode, anything like that. I get it if you still have to take calls from work and things like that. So what I do is I just turn off my notifications for my Instagram, Facebook. I actually do that on a normal basis because it helps you not see those notifications and you're like, oh wow, I gotta check it, because you see the little red bubble, So I definitely suggest turning off the notifications. And if you even have a hard time doing that, maybe setting a timer for yourself that like, okay, in 30 minutes, I will check my phone. Things like that. All that can help, but I feel like the phone can be one of your biggest distractors and your biggest time wasters, especially while you're at home and trying to get things done. Okay, so let's talk about those 30-minute work spurts. These can be longer for you depending on the age of your kid. I have an infant and a toddler, so it is pretty difficult to keep them entertained even for 30 minutes. So again, on the night before, I try to print out I have some colored printables that I print out so they can color things. My daughter's really into dinosaurs right now, so I printed some of those out so she can color. I also have printables for learning and things like that. I also do outside time. So what I do is I have like a little bouncy house that I put out, and I put out like a little water slide, any kind of like, make a little water park outside basically, or whatever you want to do. A sandbox, I have a sandbox as well. What I usually do is I set her up outside and I work outside on a table that I have. If your Wi-Fi reaches that far, if you can have connectivity that far, that's a great idea, because it gets them in a whole new environment where you can work, but you can still keep an eye on them as well. I usually do this when my infant is napping. Take advantage of those nap times if you have them. I get it if your kids are older that you can't do that, but taking advantage of nap times is key. So this means trying not to do housework during this time, trying not to do just relaxing. I know after you put the kids to bed, you've had them all day, and you put them to nap, you're like, oh my gosh, I just need a break. I used to be a stay-at-home mom, completely get it. Now that I'm working home with them, I'm realizing that I have to use nap time to get my work done. It is just key. That's the only way that I can really get a full-blown hour to 2 hours of work done, is while they are sleeping. Another activity for those 30-minute work spurts are like Play-Doh or kinetic sand, anything like that, and just kind of have it on a rotation. So I try to do that a lot, just try to rotate things. And honestly, sometimes, yeah, it's screen time, you guys. Sometimes it's tablet, sometimes it's a movie. You know, if you have really important stuff to get done, give yourself grace and pull out that screen. I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinions on this, but I feel like right now, I think almost everybody is using screen time a little bit more, just because it's very tough to work from home with them. So if you have to pull out the screen, if you have to put on a movie, Frozen 2 right now, it's the one my daughter's really loving, put it on, you guys, and just, they'll be fine. I promise, they'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna get into working with an infant. So I have an infant and she's almost crawling, but not quite there yet. I just take my laptop and I sit on the floor, honestly. Sitting on the floor with her, I can hand her toys. So I have like a little bucket of toys next to me and I hand them to her while I am working. But I can't all the time just sit at the table because she needs me and she's on the floor when she's crawling and things like that. So another good idea that comes off of that though is sitting them down in their high chair and putting little snacks in front of them while you get certain work done. I've done this with my girl a lot. I put little puffs out and she takes them and is eating them while I am working on emails or anything like that. Again, this stuff only lasts like maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20, maybe 30, who knows? But you just have to realize that right now during this time, you're just gonna get those little spurts of work done. And that's kind of what you have to strive for, is getting those little spurts throughout the day. I don't really count on being like, okay, you know, once they wake up in this, I'm gonna have like these 1.5 to 2 hour slots of full-blown work and not have to care for them. That we all know that doesn't work. Maybe if you have older kids it does, but with young ones it doesn't work. So yeah, just again, remember those little spurts of time. Try to have some activities, you know, throw in some screen time in there if you have to. If you don't do screen time at all, then try other activities as well, like I mentioned. But yeah, so this brings me into the whole realistic expectations. So remember that right now, this is not going to be like the times when you're going into work and, you know, getting all this stuff done. I kind of saying like, okay, my 1 day of work now is turning into 2 to 3 days of work now. And usually if you have a good employer, they understand that, because if you're having your kids at home, I'm really hoping that employers understand that. And if some of them don't, then that's pretty saddening. But I really hope that your employer does understand that, because we have to realize that these are all, again, 3 separate jobs and it is very hard to do them all together. So realizing that your expectations for the amount of work that you do, that was hard for me, because I'm like, oh man, I'm getting so much done. And every night I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm not doing anything. I'm barely getting work done. The work that I used to be able to do in 1 day, I am now getting done in 2 to 3, maybe longer, depending on how my kids are. Again, I have babies, so it's tough right now. But again, just realizing that you have to set yourself with those realistic expectations that you're not gonna get the same amount of work done as you would if you were going to the office, or if you do fully work from home like I do, just being able to get all that stuff done just because you have someone else caring for your kids. So another tool that's beneficial is FaceTime. So FaceTime is really good because you can FaceTime a family member. I usually do like the grandparents, and they can keep those kids entertained for a bit. They can sit there, kind of keep an eye on them. If you're like doing some emails or something, obviously have your kids in sight still as well, but I'm just saying that they can look at them and try to do some funny faces on FaceTime and stuff and try to entertain them. It really works for like the older kids as well, because they can kind of talk with their grandparents and stuff like that. So I felt like that's a good tool to still keep the whole family or friends, whoever you FaceTime, together during this time, and it provides them kind of like a new face to see, a little bit of a distraction while you have something to do. Okay, so this one I think everybody mentions, even if you're not during this whole self-isolating period, but it's just being ready every day. I'm not saying you have to get dressed every day, especially if you're in the house all day. I still wear my PJs, but I get myself put together in case I need to, you know, go outside with the girls or just do anything. I always like to have myself together. For me, it makes me feel more productive, and I feel like I just have a head start to the day. But for other people, I know it doesn't matter. So whatever you choose to do, but I do feel like just getting dressed, even if it's just sweatpants and a sweatshirt, getting something new, getting out of your pajamas, doing your hair, if you like doing your makeup, whatever it is you like to do, really helps you put together. So really helps put you together. So whatever you feel like gets you together and ready for the day, whatever it takes for you to recharge, I think that's important. This brings me to doing a lot of prep the night before. So as working moms, you guys already know that we do a ton of prep the night before anyways. Keep it that way still. So that way throughout the day, it still makes your life easier. So maybe have the lunches packed the night before. Maybe have breakfast already done the night before. Have bottles done the night before, things like that. All that will help you if you stay on your schedule. And that's what I do. And I also have my coffee machine set. So when I go downstairs, all I have to do is press the button, or I even have it to delay brew. So it'll be done already by 6 a.m. when I go downstairs and drink my coffee. So all of those things really, really help. And I have a 5 a.m. morning routine. That was my last video. And I show you kind of like what I do in the mornings to get everything ready. And it shows that I had a lot of stuff prepped the night before, which is what helps me ease into the morning of. So if you do pack your kids' lunches before going to work or the night before, whatever you did when you were still going into the office to work or while you were still working from home without taking care of the kids, do it still. Because that way it keeps you on that plan, and that way you're not struggling with like, okay, now I have to waste some extra time making lunches. Oh wait, no, look, I can pop it out because it's already done. And that saves you some time. And while they're eating lunch, that's another good little burst to get some work done. Okay guys, well that was pretty much all the tips that I have. Right now, again, it is a very, very stressful and hard time, and I hope you guys are just giving yourself all the breaks that you need. Just realize that, you know, again, realistic expectations. We're not going to be able to be these hard chargers that we were when we had someone taking care of our kids while we were working. So yeah, I hope these tips helped you, and I hope they provided you with some realistic insight. Like I said, again, I have to be logged on from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30. I work for an employer. I'm not self-employed. So if this is you, I hope these really do give you some tips. And even if this is not you, I hope that these work from home tips help you also out in the future. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or if you have any advice as well, please leave them below. I would love to hear what works for you, what's working for you right now. Maybe it's some cool sensory play activities, whatever it is, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay safe, stay as healthy as you can, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.